Hello again, welcome to mission 3 of the Viggen Red Flag single player campaign. Full disclosure before I continue with this is not the first time I've tried to fly this mission. I tried to fly this mission by following all the waypoints precisely. That resulted in me being shot down by some SAM sites, which are placed conveniently close to one of the waypoints, and they are SAM sites which do not get destroyed. So in this mission I'm going to be reflying, and I'm going to be attempting to adjust my flight plan on the fly as the situation develops. I'm going to be using the F10 battle map in order to do so. I've read a little bit about the campaign on the ED forums, and it seems Bunyap suggests that using the F10 map is advisable. So, another note, the external sounds will be quite loud to begin with, so we'll have to possibly bear with my voice being drowned out. Let's get started then. Now we've got plenty of time before I need to start and get airborne. I don't need to get airborne until 15:57 at the latest. It's currently 15:40. So I've got a good 15 minutes here. You can see AWACS is getting airborne. And then soon after AWACS, we've got CAP going up over there. Another CAP flight. To my right is Viggen, followed by a lineup of RAF Tornadoes. And in the distance there's also a section or a flight of F-16s. There goes AWACS. And the CAP flights are now starting to line up. We're almost last to get airborne here today, so we have to wait a considerable amount of time for everybody else to taxi and get airborne, but it's quite interesting watching it all happen. I'm quite happy to sit here with the Viggen off and just watch everybody else. Here's one of the Tornadoes. And then we have some of the CAP aircraft already airborne. And I won't cycle through everyone because we'll probably end up looking at some Red 4 aircraft too, so we don't want to give the game away too much. So another section of CAP are now moving into position at the threshold. And just looking at the F10 map, you can see how busy we are here. So here's the CAP Eagle flight, another flight of Eagles getting airborne here. There's another flight of Eagles still parked. There's our Viggens, the Tornadoes, and then the F-16s. Awfully busy. And the first groups are away. AWACS is heading off to the northeast. You'll probably see that the cockpit textures on the Tornadoes appear to be incomplete. That's why they've got that green fleck. This is, I believe this Tornado is a relatively new addition to the AI portfolio. And so the textures, at least for me, are currently incomplete. I would certainly love to fly a Tornado myself at some point in the future. That would be a fun module. And here we have the 16s as well, taxiing over. So we will now get permission to start. We'll get ourselves closed up here so we can hear things a little bit better. Nellis, request startup. Just make sure we're on the right channel, yes. And we'll put the cartridge in. Another section of F-16s taxiing over. Those are beautiful looking birds. Pretty heavily armed as well. I think that thing's carrying just about everything it could possibly carry. We are not getting a response from ATC about startup, so I'm going to go ahead and start myself anyway. And we'll do a quick time check showing 14 or 13 minutes too. So still a good 10 or so minutes before I need to worry. Tornadoes are on their way. Have a good flight, chaps. Okay, we just got a negative. I think that was my request to get airborne, to start rather. I'm going to turn the warning system so that it's on the lights no sound position. Still waiting for everything to warm up here. Computer has just turned itself on. I'm going to request startup again. Enter the computer. Okay, we're zeroed for the airfield as well. We've got permission now to start, which we're kind of going through the last part of our start sequence, so I'm going to pretend that we received that already. Turning on all the cockpit lighting, there we go. I'm going to set my weapon systems up now early before I forget, and I'm going to turn it on to the impulse switch, and I'm going to turn off the values. I want to fire the rockets manually, and just checking that we are armed with rockets. Yes, we are. Let's request taxi. We can take our time.
Dodge 1-1. Request taxi to runway.
Switch over to nav. Check the HUD is down. Computer is loaded now. Switch back to act pos, actual position. I won't warm up the jammer until we get to Bravo 2. And we have taxi clearance. Just doing a final check here. Systems all look fine. We're going to center the referencing once we get to the threshold. The first Viggen flight looks like they are lined up behind the F-16s. The F-16s are rolling. I will taxi. Brakes off. Away we go. We'll throw a couple of lights on here. Some external navigation and taxi lights, and our landing lighting system, which will obviously turn off once we are on our way past waypoint 1. Glancing over the shoulder there, you can see my wingman. Welcome to the brief for Mission 3 of the Red Flag campaign. In this mission, we will be able to release some ordnance. The first couple of pages of the brief are basically backstory and debrief from the previous. I'm going to skip forward to page 4 here, where we have a basic layout for the mission as a whole. Basically flying to the north and then to the west, doing some shooting, and then flying back home. In more detail, we'll skip up to the execution section, which begins here. We will be taking off from Nellis and then heading to a holding area, and the dodge formations you can see from this table are to hold in Marshall Charlie 2 at 14 to 16,000 feet, which is about 4,000 meters. And at 1614, that is just after the other formations, we will push to the west to engage our target. Bit more detail here. This just really shows the push timing, with the forward formations going first, then Uzi, then Colt, and then us, the dodge formation, going third. We're going to skip past all of this. This is the return sequence on this page here, showing that we will be returning to Lincoln City, landing at Lincoln City airfield to rearm and refuel, and then heading south. In fact, I don't think we'll be rearming, we'll just be refueling and heading south back to Nellis. The other formations will be conducting aerial refueling in that location. The Viggen is not equipped to aerial refuel. Moving down here, we have a little bit more detail about comms. We're to use the Alpha Golf and Channel 2. That will be our channel for the strike package. Ground operations, it mentions that we are spawning in the Gulf revetments because we'll be armed. And it's notable here that there is a time limit on when they want us to taxi out. We basically need to be airborne here no later than 15:57 in order to make the push time. So I've got to keep a close eye on the clock, make sure that we get airborne by 15:57 hours. Scrolling to this section here, this just identifies our waypoint for the Marshall Charlie 2 orbit. That is the Bravo 2 waypoint. So once we hit Bravo 2 waypoint, we're going to orbit there until we receive further instructions. We can make a visual fix at Apex on nav point B1, but I don't think I'm going to use that to update the nav system. In the last mission, we completed the whole flight without needing to update the navigation system, so I think that's going to hold for this mission. Just a little bit more detail about the Marshall area and the departure out to Bravo 3. We're going to use the radar for that. Visual fix over Mount Irish on our way out. That will help us orientate. And notice that the system has been calibrated for Mach 0.6. That will probably not equal our 550 km per hour AFK cruise, which once again, as per the last mission, is annoying as hell. Here's our flight inside Red for airspace. We're going to run in between these two air defense systems just south of Quartzite Mountain. Then we're going to turn north at Bravo 4 and rocket attack on the target. Then we'll exit to the northeast, hopefully avoiding this defensive system here, and fly back out to Lincoln City. I'm very conscious here that I may have to use these mountains for ground masking from that site, so I may end up just coming left a bit, but so long as we use the waypoints, we should be fine. That's going to be the trickiest part of the mission, I think, right about here between waypoint 5 and waypoint 6, when we get close to that system of defenses there. So it'll be hugging the terrain, basically. Bit about timing here, very, very tight timing. The Dodge 2 flight will attack the target 30 seconds before us, so we have to make sure that we don't fly into their explosive debris. Here's a little imagery of the target itself. There are some support vehicles and this tickety-boo here. The information that the mission has says that the best results will be achieved if we target the chassis and not the radar array. I believe the chassis being this truck looking tanker thing here, which is also this dark shape just left and underneath the radar array itself. Egress, as discussed before, is to fly back into the blue region and land at Lincoln City. It says that we should land to the north and take off to the south. So once again in this campaign we're landing in one direction and taking off in the other. That's about it really. We'll refuel there and head home. This is all sort of supporting information and a little bit of detail about the ground threats that we should look out for. These bad boys look pretty damn dangerous. Minimum effective altitude is 10 meters. So if I can get down below 10 meters, I will probably outperform these SAMs. That's quite low. The Viggen itself has a vertical height of probably close to 10 meters. So jolly good. That's mission briefing number 3. Let's get permission to take off.
Dodge 1-1, request takeoff.
Dodge 2, airborne.
So Dodge 2's away. Dodge 1 now lining up.
Dodge 1-1, unable to clear for takeoff.
Okay, he'll say unable. As soon as I come to a halt, he'll change his mind and give me clearance. So let's just stop the aeroplane here.
Dodge 1-1, you are cleared for takeoff.
There we go, clear for takeoff.
300 at QFE 28.1.
Okay, well I'm not going to enter the QFE or QNH, whatever it is, because my system runs on a different unit. I'm just making sure it's zeroed here, which it is. Hit the reference button. Now we're lined up, and let's get airborne. Second stage afterburn. And eye on the airspeed indicator, looking for 250 and then 270 for rotation. Just getting a bit wobbly here. Up we go. Gear up. Lights are flashing, lights are off. Good, gear is up. And let's get ourselves into a relatively safe climb attitude. Bravo 1 now showing we're clear. Middle power. And I'm just going to double click in the air brakes just in case they are deployed to be absolutely certain. Heading for Bravo 1. At which point I will turn off the lighting. Bravo 1's the apex just up here. We don't have far to fly. 9 kilometers or so. Wingman's still some way behind. There goes waypoint Bravo 1. We are now vectoring to Bravo 2, turning left. While we turn, I'll get some lights off. Well, that's interesting. Those lights did not turn off internally. I wonder if that's a bug. So there's a landing lighting switch here, and that's what made the cockpit look pale earlier on when I flicked it, and now it's off. It doesn't appear to have switched back to the previous mode, so I think that's a bug. There's my wingman. He's caught up. Rolling out on a vector for Bravo 2, hitting about 5 degrees, 7 degrees, something like that. You can see that we've got 14 mil, which is 140 kilometers to travel. I need to maintain the climb. Countermeasures. Make sure we've got our flares on. Jammer remains off for now. We're on nav mode, and we'll raise the HUD up to the cruise/flight position. Takes quite some time to reach Bravo 2, which is our hold point. I can visually see the other formations off to my 11 o'clock. They probably will not show in the video, but there are a bunch of faint dots over there. A few formations. I noticed in my first attempt at this that the hold point for Dodge 1, which is me, seems to be quite far to the east. And everyone else was holding much further westward than me. And then when we got the instruction to push, I ended up being way behind them. A couple of minutes behind, and I'm supposed to be no more than 30 seconds behind. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to hold to the west of the Bravo 2 waypoint. And as soon as Dodge 2 pushes, I'm going to push at the same time, so that I don't get behind them. In fact, I may even push in front of them and get the rockets away before they attack. We'll see. Whilst we're en route here, we can take a look at the F10 map just to see how the tactical situation is playing out. So I'm en route. Up here you can see the various Blue 4 formations all heading up to the holding area. Looking out to the west, nothing is showing yet. So we still have no information from AWACS about what may or may not be out there. So we're just waiting on that information to start coming back, and then as we check the F10 map, we'll start being able to make a few more decisions about our precise attack plan. Attack coordinates are Bravo 5. Just going to check that comes up as Mike 5, and yes it does. So that's good. Time now is 1558. This is 1 minute after the last minute in which I could have gotten airborne. Well ahead of necessary scheduling, which is fine. Number 2 is still here with me. Distance to waypoint now showing as 10 mil or 100 kilometers. Airspeed 570 or so, Altitude is now 3,500 coming up. That's going to be our holding altitude, 3,500 meters. So as soon as I hit that altitude, I'm actually going to level off and I'll engage the autopilot and we'll fly to the Bravo 2 waypoint under autopilot. Just starting to line up on the waypoint properly now before I engage. Hold. There we go. Hold that for me, please. That's a relatively accurate hold, I think. I'm just moving a couple of degrees off to the right now. Fuel check 110%. I will release the external tanks just as we go past 100%. 100% means that I've switched from external fuel load to internal fuel load. For those who are not familiar. Having a gaze around this beautiful cockpit here. Oxygen can come on. We won't be needing it, but there's no harm in having it on, even though we're not at hypoxic altitudes. Turn it on here and just leave it. I'll start warming up the pod now. Alpha and Foxtrot, a couple of the yellow lights go on up here, and then when that light turns off we'll know the pod is warm. That's the jammer. Time until push now is 14 minutes. Push time for us is 16:14 and it's currently 1 minute past. So 13 minutes. Distance to waypoint 65 kilometers. Let's have a look at the tactical situation. All right. Things are populated now. So my target is, I believe, there. What I can do is click on my section and it should bring up my waypoints. Waypoint 2, 3, and then 4, and then 5. So there's my target there. Now, last time I flew this mission, I turned from 4 and both of these SAM sites opened up on me. So I would actually advise, spoiler, players who haven't played this mission, I would actually advise going from 3, staying on 3, and then at about here, turning straight for 5 and skipping 4. I noticed the other dodge formation did not go to waypoint 4 either. Pretty much everybody just flies a path like this, and I went south and got left out here on my own and got walloped. So my advice is not to follow the flight plan. Check the tactical situation and adjust accordingly. I wasn't sure if you were supposed to do that kind of approach in this campaign. My first attempt, I thought I'll just fly the numbers, and if I fly them perfectly I should be okay. Do not trust the mission planners. Adapt. A few quick checks. Altitude's good, airspeed's good, fuel is fine, 105. On waypoint, Bravo 2 showing. Wingman's in position. Airspace is clear. Checking all my instruments appear to be showing correctly. Nothing's toppled. Showing weird values. Time until push now is about 10 minutes. I like to grab a few screenshots whilst we're en route between these waypoints because we can get some nice thumbnails out of that. Which is why you see the NVIDIA GeForce screenshot thing coming up. I don't use GeForce for... That's the NVIDIA experience thing. I don't use that for recording my video. I actually use OBS for video recording, but I take my screenshots with the graphics card's own driver package, software package. The reason I use OBS primarily is because it allows multi-track audio recording, so I can record my voice on one channel, the game on another, and if I'm on TeamSpeak, I can have TeamSpeak on a third channel. And then when I'm compiling the video, I can choose to edit out various audio tracks if I want to. It's very handy. Enough of that, let's get our head back in the game here. 7 or 8 minutes now until push. Bravo 2 shows as 10 kilometers away. I'm going to disable the hold and we're going to fly manually into the Bravo 2 waypoint just so that we hit it as closely as possible and the nav system will update. Five kilometers. Bravo 3 showing we are now at the hold. AFK on. I'm going to turn towards the west, as I said before, and we will now wait out the 3 to 4 minutes that are required as we just hold here until we get the push instruction. So I am still holding and it is now just coming up 11 past, which means the first formations should be getting their push instruction. This also means that I am going to now turn the jammer on, and I'm following Dodge 2 here. I just sort of moved a little bit to the south and I've put myself just behind them, and basically I'm going to follow them until we get the push instruction and kind of use them as a shield out to the target, really. I figure if we're basically following them out, and staying relatively close to them, then we should have some success. They are now turning back around to the west, and I think we can expect the push very soon. Yeah, 12 minutes past. There's already a couple of formations which appear to be heading away to the west. So it looks like the push instructions have started going out. What are we at now? Yeah, coming up a minute and a half to go. So we've dropped below 100% fuel. The external tanks have been released. Wingman is still floating around off my right. Weapons are still set. Everything looks okay. We just need to wait for time now. 1 minute. Let's turn towards waypoint 3. So that we're lined up when the instruction comes. So that's okay. There it is. That happened all rather quickly. We're going to descend on the push heading. Waypoint 3 shows is about 70 kilometers away. Airspeed we apparently need is 0.6. We have currently 0.6. And I'll go up to the first afterburn and then just pull it back into middle power. So, now the games have begun. In earnest. Our first strike. Got a bit of terrain in that direction, so I won't drop below it. I'll wait till we're co-elt with the top of that terrain. And I'll level us off. (2,500) airspeed, 0.7 something. Let's hold there. Check the tactical map. Where do we need to be? Up here. So you can see we're vectoring towards waypoint 3. I've got some SAM sites here. So what I'm probably going to do is probably about somewhere about here. I am going to turn. Okay, those guys just passed Irish. I'm going to turn towards the target, which is going to be pretty much bearing 270 from that point. So there's waypoint 3. Somewhere not terribly long after waypoint 3, I'm actually going to vector straight for waypoint 5. Assuming that these SAM sites get taken out. These ones here are the real problem ones. I don't want to fly over them, and that waypoint just takes me too close. I want to come straight across this empty piece here. That's the plan anyway. Distance to waypoint is just coming up 40 kilometers. So yep, there we go. Instruments flicked around. And I think I'm actually going to be ahead of Dodge too. There they are there. I don't mind being ahead of them. In fact, the closer together we are when we attack, the better. Because it means more confusion, hopefully, for any ground defences. But it reduces the chance of me being the gazelle that gets taken out by the cheetah. If there's lots of other gazelles to shoot at. We can descend. Still above that peak by some way. Now I think I see the terrain I'm talking about. So I've got our waypoint here, then another mountain range off to the left, and then another in the distance. If we look at that on the map here, that's our waypoint. That's our waypoint. That's the mountain range off to the left, and that's the one just behind on the right. So it's about here, south of these agricultural things and that lake. That's where I'm going to turn. So we can probably see it visually. There they are there. So it's going to be basically this ridge here, the second one. That's where I'm going to dip into this dip, and then we're going to go in that direction from down here somewhere. Okay, good. Distance now 16 kilometers. We can take off the autopilot and fly this bad boy manually down towards the waypoint a bit closer. Okay, that's the Colt formations. They are the F-16s, I believe. Staying close to them is probably not a bad idea either. They're pretty good in an air-to-air situation. Here we go. Irish, Mount Irish. Irish. And there's the waypoint for us as well. Boom. Now we're going to come slightly left of these guys. Yep. And then turning right just over this ridge here in that direction. Let's go. Now I need to turn my noise on. I need to hear. It's going to get beepy. Apologies. But I need to be able to hear what's going on, so we're going to have to put up with the beeping sounds. .8 Mach, which is nice and fast. Not using the afterburner yet. I'm actually going to just tail back on the fuel consumption for a little bit, and then we'll plug it when we get a bit closer. Checking the weapons setting again, that's perfect. Fairly confident that there's no SAM sites over this ridge. Yeah, the nearest SAMs are a long way off, over a whole other mountain range. Not even over this mountain range, so we're okay here. Sort of in this depression. All the pings I'm getting are coming from behind. Descending, descending, descending. That's not a very good track IR setting, that's better. Still coming from behind. Is it time now to vector for waypoint 5? Yes it is. We're starting to get lit up by ground radar. So waypoint 5. That's the attack waypoint. And it is basically on this bearing. There we go. There's stuff happening up there. Looks like missiles. Time for me to get down on the deck, get below all that business. And run it in. So we'll go middle power. Try and accelerate just a bit. And then we'll shove the afterburners on shortly. Alright, it's all go. Gonna get my menu ready so that I can instruct my wingman to attack air defences with a Foxtrot 4. Okay, F4 is the instruction for him. Wow, there's stuff going on right over my head here. Dodge 2 is passing the farms. It's a weird shadow rendering there. Contacts overhead. Looks like an F-16. Can't tell for sure. Okay, I'm going to push up to the first afterburn. SAM sight down. Two more SAMs down. Oh wow, that exposed us a little. Let's get this aeroplane into the dirt. Distance 25 kilometers nearly to target. Target is pretty much in this direction there. Okay, I'm lined up on the target now. I can probably engage the weapons safety. Weapons safety. I'm heading onto the bearing of the target. Let's get down. Feels good. Afterburn stage 2.
Uzi 1, head down.
Got to keep this aeroplane nice and low. Weapons trigger safety is off. As soon as I get visual on the target, 15 kilometers. Wingman's still there. Right, I'm going to tell him to engage air defences, and as soon as I pop over this ridge. Oh, it's a big open space down here. Ping, ping, ping. Engage air defences. Way to go, mate. Oh, this is not good. Right, where's the target? There's the target. There's the target. Gotta be it. Yep. Flare, flare, flare. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Weapon away, weapon away, weapon away, weapon away, weapon away. I think we hit it. Turning. Weapon safety. Off. Flare, flare. Staying as low as I can here, come on. Well, it went silent. I don't know if that means I got it. Okay, do I want to go north? There's my mountain range. That's what I want for cover.
North SA-11 is down.
More SAMs are down. I'm on full 3-stage afterburn. I have the fuel to stay like this for a while. Waypoint 6, please. Oh, just got a bit high there. Let's go down, let's go down. Okay, Bravo 6 is up ahead. Come on. Wingman's still alive. Feels good. Okay, let's just reduce back to afterburn 1. Right, this is the mountain range. I just want to stay slightly to the west of, and then turn north a little bit late. From memory, looking at the tactical map earlier. Dodge 2 gets its bombs away. I've got this terrain masking I wanted now. There's my wingman. Sorry mate, I know you're flying up above that ridge there, but now I can start turning to the east. We'll do a quick check of the TAC map. Just here. Yeah, good, we're clear, we're clear. We can now turn east. Excellent. Did he fly into a mountain? I thought I heard a bang. Oh no, he's just further back. Let's hope he makes it up over that ridge. I think I see either him or me back there. No, okay, good, good, good. Right. Slowly dropping back into the dirt again. Want 090 here. There are some enemy ground units off in that direction, but once we clear this final ridge here, then we should be clear of it all. Wingman's quite a bit further up. Afterburner off.
Colt 2, vents out.
A little bit of light from the right there. Not quite sure what that is. And some from the left ahead. That's friendlies off to the left ahead. Very good. Sound off. Lights only. Engage the autopilot. Hold now. And begin the flight back. Fuel status looks good. I'll reduce a bit more. Airspeed 0.7 something. Wingman there. Very good. That was 10 minutes of adrenaline. Now I just got to engage the brain, make sure we make it back okay. We're going to Lincoln County, which is over here, just near both waypoint 2. Don't know why it's got 7 and 8 like that, because I know the briefing was definitely to head to L1. So if I bring up L1 there, it's telling me about 100 degrees. So that's correct, and distance is 130 kilometers. So this looks about right for Lincoln County. Going to line up now on that approximate heading. So there you have it. I think adjusting the flight plan, instead of going to waypoint 4 and adjusting halfway between waypoint 3 and 4 straight onto waypoint 5, I think that helped a lot. It just got me outside of an area where there were a high, well, I won't say a high concentration, but there was at least a concentration of ground surface to air defences. So I think we just managed to put ourselves in a slightly less vulnerable position. I don't know if any SAMs were launched against us, so we certainly got lit up by a bit of ground radar, but it's also notable that as soon as I appeared to hit that ground vehicle, the pinging stopped. I'm hoping we nobbled it. Whilst we're flying back, I'll actually just have a quick look at the... No, I won't check the outcome information until we've properly cleared enemy airspace and everything's all safe and we can comfortably assume that the mission has been safely completed. Once we fence out, basically. Oxygen no longer required. None of these systems are required anymore. Everything else looks fine. 100 kilometers to go. So a bit of a flight ahead of us heading back. There's old Jim Bob number 2. And I can actually see a fire way off in the distance back there. I wonder if that's the target area. I think it's actually on the other side of that ridge. There's another smoke there. It's amazing how far away you can see the smoke from? That is... I don't know, that's got to be 50, 60 kilometers at least. And I can actually see the smoke on the ground. It's really impressive. If DCS can maintain that kind of range of visibility for ground objects and fire and stuff, that's superb. Really superb. Interesting. Perhaps formerly used for something, now not used for anything. Square shapes down there. I would say we are at or past fence out now. 80 kilometers from Lincoln County. Let's check the map. Yeah, we're basically... Oh no, we're not fencing out quite yet because that was waypoint 3. So we're actually just going past waypoint 3. That's a bit annoying. Well, let's check the map now anyway and see what damage we did. Here we go. We've got these... Oh, that SAM site was almost destroyed. And there's my structure there, which, interestingly, it looks like I didn't destroy. So I'm not quite sure what that means. We'll start having a look through some of the detail here. Player, that's me. Where am I there? And hit... Well, we'll go for event hit. And there we go. We did hit this ZU-23 with 2 rockets. Seems it was not destroyed. So we hit something. And I think we got 10 points out of a total of 63. That's what it looks like. I'm not sure. No. Nothing destroyed for me. But still, we did make it to the target. We got the weapons away. We did hit something. Just didn't manage to destroy it. Unsure if my wingman also got something. Certainly from a flight planning and execution point of view, would say this mission was a success. Target, it would appear, was not completely destroyed.